Hey everybody, Kimberly here, and I bring you fewer previews on my channel than I do post-production games that are already ready and available to you right now. And the reason is because I kind of am pretty picky about the previews that I bring you. I want to bring you the kinds of games that I'm going to be interested in backing on Kickstarter or GameFound or wherever you can support these games. And I have to say that when I was introduced to Estate, Raise the Realm, for 2 to 4 players, I thought this is that perfect hour to an hour and a half strategy game that I'm looking for, that I play with my gaming group. It has worker placement mechanics with engine building and just a nice balance of track progression and cool every round opportunities. So let me just show you what it is, what it feels like, and what to look for in this game if you go and check it out at Kickstarter right now. Because again, this is my kind of game. So this is going to be the board area where you have different kinds of opportunities, places to place your worker to go and gain some basic resources. They, yes, do accumulate each round. There's going to be one more of those tokens that you get put out there for those 4 major resources. You've got your rock or your stone, your wheat, your food. This is your wood or lumber, and then here's your steel or your ore. I know that they have names and they're all very clearly identified, but these are going to be the 4 major resources. Then you also have the market, which this game is highly driven by the cards that you play and that you have in play. So all I've done is display 2 possible player boards right here just to show you that every single player is going to have a unique asymmetrical start and a special ability that they get to trigger, and there are a handful of these characters. I'm talking more than the amount that are in the game. I know they're developing these right now. So it's just so cool. So up here, the Trade Queen begins with the Merchant and the Lumberyard. So we take a look at these cards and we simply see this is the amount that you would have to pay to build this card. And this is going to be the victory points that it's worth. This is the type of card, Citizen or Construction. And this is of the 4 different symbols, or sorry, 3 symbols that you see on your personal player track. This is what it does. And it's a production card that does this. So this is going to be one of the cards that the Trade Queen gets. And then the other one's the Lumberyard. This costs both a rock and a wood. And then again, 3 victory points. Here's that construction symbol. This is a building or a structure as opposed to a citizen or a person. And then this activates the sickle, and it's a passive ability. So when you take a look at these cards, they not only tell you that, they also tell you what you start with as your beginning tracks. So production is the money bags and the sickle, and you move your cubes up on this track, and what you see to the right of your cube is what you get. So this person's going to be able to produce 1, draw cards at 1, and have eras unlocked. You can go to progress 1 here on the sickle, and you can put your worker in that space. There are 4 workers that you have available to you. Down here, the pious one began with place of worship. So we look at place of worship, really expensive, a lot of victory points at the end of the game. And it's going to be a building, obviously a place of worship. And it's this symbol. This is going to be your kind of crown or royalty symbol. And when it's played, you get to do this, which this player is going to get to do this right now before the game even starts. Draw 4 cards, keep 1, discard 2, play 1 into your estate for 1 less resource. So let's do that. And also, as a way to start the game, every player begins with 1 of each of these resource types. So we're going to give those to every player. You just put those in your player area. And then we're going to take a look at those cards for the pious one to begin. And notice with this crown, the cube goes into that very first space. And so they're going to start with that on their board. So they get to do their special thing. You get to draw 4 from this massive stack of cards, and you're looking at it. There's a forge, a smelter, a royal guard, and a forest. You're going to be able to keep 1 card, and then you're going to build another if you can for 1 less resource, and then discard the rest of the cards. And these are going to give us these symbols down here in progress. Also, it might be the person, the citizen versus the structure. And also don't forget to look at the victory points. But also there's going to be a win played bonus and a production bonus and some kind of other text that's written on the card. So before this person picks these cards and gets their bonus, one thing to keep in mind, and this is for every game, there are going to be era cards that are down here. They are shuffled up. And the very first one is always going to be in play from the start. Everyone knows, and it's also a good one. So this is called Era of Culture. And the Era of Culture says constructions cost 1 less resource to play. And at the end of the era, everyone will compare their number of constructions played in their player area. And the person who has the most will put one of their cubes on this first place mark, getting 6 victory points at the end of the game. Second place will receive a card and a resource. Third and fourth will receive 1 card. So there is a competition while there is a bonus as well. There's something that's in play and the other one is the goal. And that's at the end of the first era, which takes everyone using all 4 of their workers one at a time. These are either good or bad. We don't know until we flip it over. 2 of them are good, 2 of them are bad. And they're going to evaluate different features in the game, giving victory points to the highest winner. So if it's number of constructions played and constructions cost less, I think this person should construct. There are 3 construction buildings right here, and they are good for production, which this person doesn't necessarily have any production buildings out right now. They just have the place of worship. So let's have them smelter. Let's have them smelter for the cheaper cost of 1 rock and 1 iron, because it normally costs 2. So they get that 1 off, but also constructions cost 1 less to play. So let's have them pop back just the stone, and we'll keep that kind of steel symbol. That was 2 off because of this and because of this. Really, really cool. They get to then keep another 1, and they will discard the other 2. The Royal Guard is not necessarily very, well, the Nobles is this card right here, so perhaps that's, no, let's put this one. We're going to discard that guy, and we're going to keep the constructions. Constructions are really, really valuable right now. And then we'll do the Forge. Let's do this, because we can get the exchange for the smelter, get iron, then change out 1 iron for 2 other resources. So this is going to go into that player's hand, and then that place of worship is done, and now we get to essentially start the game. Players will put out their workers one at a time, going to the, one of these 4 places. Here's our action overview card. Play an estate card from your hand, and you get to play 1, paying out the resources, gaining any win played abilities, and then moving up your track. Speaking of, let's move up my track on production. This player got that money bag symbol, moving that marker up, getting them closer to getting more cards to be able to produce when they do the production action. Produce says you get to activate the number of production cards within your estate equal to the value to the right of your cube with your production tracker. And production just means do what the card says. You essentially turn it sideways to show that you've used it, and that's your produce. Drawing estate cards, you draw cards equal to the right of your cube with that kind of crown symbol equal to your tracker. So it's again to the right of your tracker, so 1 card at this time. And then the last thing is take an era action by moving your worker to some place out on the board. And you get to go to any place you're eligible to, which means progress 1 is right here on the eras unlocked. Make sure that you only go to these cards that are randomly drawn from a stack and then put out. So every game is going to be different with those cards, those progress cards. Okay, that's going to be what we do. So you place your worker out and you do your thing and you put them down here on this space unless you send them to take an era action out here. That's it. This is the game. I pretty much taught you everything minus all the cards, which that's where the game is where these cards are. So cool. But this player is well on their way to winning the majority of the constructions because this player only has one because this is a citizen card. So that's a really good move early on, plus it gets them ready to go with their smelter, and they're going to be able to hopefully build that forge to take advantage of it. So just, again, so cool. The only thing I haven't introduced to you is this. These are called your secret objectives. Players receive 2. They pick the one that they want at the beginning of the game, and they will score this at the end. Receive an additional victory point for every 2 gold collected. Gold is an interesting, unique. This is face down, by the way. I have them face up, but they're face down, so you keep them secret from people. Gold's up here, and essentially gold is earned in a variety of ways that you will see opportunities for, but it's not a basic resource. So that's it. We got our cards. We're ready to go. We just essentially go out and do. So let me play an estate card with this person. Let's have him play the forge. Oh, we can't play the forge yet because we can't afford with the 1 discount. It costs 2 of those iron and then 1 stone, and it would be not available to us. So maybe we do something else instead. Yeah, these cards are pretty expensive, and a lot of them have grain. Now, there is a card out here that says, pay 4 grain and then receive a worker starting next round. There are these extra bonus workers up here. Any worker placement game worth their salt has a chance to get more workers that allow you to do more on your era in this case, which would be 5 or 6 that you get to allocate before the end of your era and the scoring for that particular phase. So that's fantastic. That's really cool. There are cards that allow you to do that as well. So maybe instead we send our worker out to get some resources. There's only 1 of these available right now, or the production allows me to do 1 production and receive 1 iron, which I could possibly do here and receive that so that I could then build the forge. Yeah, all you need to do is send your worker out, and you're going to send him here, grabbing that stone. Early on, these have not built up, and you really want to make sure you build your production cards up so you can get more bang for your buck, but this is early game. Up here, this player could do production. It says copy an action from another player's estate, and then their special action, which again, all these players have a special one-time action per era. This says when performing the effect of the merchant, take the card action twice. So that's cool. When you do it, you're essentially moving this over. I know that they're coming up with the super cool way to do this in the game. A lot of updates here. So what you see is just a pre-production copy. They're working on some other features and elements of the game that make it so cool. So keep that in mind. And then this says when you receive wood, you get an extra wood and put it here, and your lumberyard keeps track of all these extra points that you're going to earn for every wood that you put on top of that card, which again is really cool. So this player can either play a card from their hand, they could produce on their estate, they could draw more cards from either here or this stack, or they can send their worker out here doing an estate action. Honestly, the game is in the cards. So the cards are really cool and versatile. Again, you're looking for cost. You're looking for when the text triggers. You're looking for victory points, if it's a citizen or if it's a construction. And you're looking here to see, is this the kind of crown or noble symbol? Is it the progress symbol, or is it this production symbol, which of course says production. So there's a lot of things to keep in mind, but these cards are just really lovely. They're clear, they're well organized. The game is so clever with this worker placement. It's a nice friction of where do you go. If there's 1 person pictured, you can only send 1 person, which blocks that space. There's no more resources there. But the same thing goes for here. Let's say the yellow player goes here. There's only 1 person that can go to that special progress location, gathering up 2 resources instead of just 1, and now they've got those resources in their supply. The progress gets better and better based on the progress on your unlocked eras on this track right here. And so there's just some lovely features. There's lovely friction. You can see the cards, but if you don't want those, you can always draw from the top. The hidden eras showing up whenever you get to it, and the evaluation of those eras is so clever. It's the top one gets victory points, but there's a little bit of a catch-up mechanic or a boost for the players who came in second, third, and fourth with cards and much needed resources. The other thing is that if you get your marker and you max out on any particular track, you're going to receive big victory points at the end of the game. It's going to be 7 in addition to the points here and the points here, and the gold that you get. Resources on cards are worth victory points, tucked cards are worth victory points, and of course your secret objective is worth victory points. So this is your classic, I mean, I'm just feeling it, it's just so good, this kind of, you know, Euro-y worker placement, engine building. In the first round or two, you're kind of ramping up, but you also have to deal with and maybe benefit from the era event abilities. You're trying to get to the best place first. You've got your own strategy. You're playing cards down for so many reasons, but one is to get that movement on the track that lets every time you do a production draw cards or era more powerful. So that's your engine building and growing and just kind of like being so cool. And I love that you can get those extra workers again. Very clear and easy. And of course you got your 4 basic resources. Classic move. But it's the cards. The cards are really unique in this game. And this is the kind of game that I'm going to pull out again and again, playing 2, 3, or 4 players, a nice group for me when I'm just with my husband or whenever I have my 3-player game night or when I have my 4-player game night. So fantastically perfect fit and a nice hour to an hour and a half game. In my opinion, it takes a little bit longer than stated. It says 60 to 75 minutes. Sometimes for me, we go into that 90-minute time period, but just a lovely, very thoughtful game. Can't say enough good things about this. Again, this is the game I back, me personally, Kimberly, on Kickstarter. Okay, folks, I'll see you next time. Bye.